This episode of RecLess is brought to you by Rec Technologies, the recreation management system built for parks and rec in an AI-powered world. Rec Technology knows what it's like. Clunky system, endless workarounds, and software that fights you at every step. That's not what Park and Rec is about. We're all about serving our community. But somehow, we feel like we're stuck in the past, and sometimes our technology makes things harder. Well, Rec wants to change that, and they believe that your software shouldn't feel like a second job. Built by leaders from Uber and Google, Rec combined modern technology with powerful AI to make registration and discovery simpler for residents and day-to-day work easier for all the staff. That means fewer headaches on registration days, less time wrestling with spreadsheets, and more time for the work that matters. It's recreation management that makes it more fun and powers more play across your community. Don't miss them on Wednesday, September 30th at 1:15 when they join OpenAI in the Glenview, Illinois Park District to explore practical, real-world ways that Parks and Rec teams can use ChatGPT. They'd also love to meet you at the RecLess Social on Tuesday, September 29th. To learn more, visit recreation.ai. Now, let's get the show started.
Welcome to Season 6 of RecLess, the podcast making you smarter about the field of parks and recreation. Your hosts are Shane Mize, Jay Tryon, and Tom Venniro, three professional friends, if you know, from around the country, bringing you a surprise guest each episode. This project has made an impact, educates others, and continues to support a growing community. Thank you for being part of it. This is RecLess.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Nighthawk.
Nighthawk?
Yeah, it's a Step Brothers reference. Or I don't know if it's that. It made me think of a Step Brothers reference for sure. We're 5 wide today.
What's up, Jay?
Sorry, hold on. I'm trying to get my microphone set up.
We're always waiting on Jay.
Yeah, you guys hear me?
Perfect.
Sure can.
Cool.
All right, guys, we got 5 wide, as Shane mentioned. We got Nighthawk and Mon Ami. And
Great photo on Mon Ami.
and so, anyway, because it looks like we have potentially more than one guest, are you guys ready to go?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. Welcome to RecLess, everybody.
Am I the host?
Yes,
Okay.
you are the host. I did make you
Well,
the
I was
host.
just thinking if you did have to drop, then we could carry on
Sure.
without you.
Okay. All right. Well, you're not.
That's not why you said it right then and there.
Yeah, I mean, you probably could have waited on that. Anyway,
Could've
welcome
texted.
to RecLess. I am your host today, actually, not Shane Mize. Tom
I'm the
Venniro
host.
with Shane Mize and Jay Tryon, my at least once a year, maybe recently twice a year travel buddies. How you guys doing today?
He's already stretching how many different ways he can describe us, Jay. Already trying to figure it out. I'm good. Travel buddy, good.
I would hope we're more than travel buddies, but
Nope,
if that's
that's
what
it.
you want to call me.
God,
then
there's never a thing I could call you guys that will be good enough. So, well, guys, we've
Try
got
best friends.
a travel buddy, you would think you do that more than once or twice.
well, perhaps
Let's travel
but
more.
In our case,
I'm
it's a
down.
couple times a year, all right? And so
Right.
that's what I labeled you today. So we're gonna go with it. And as you could both see, we've got Mon Ami with a wrestler moniker, and then Nighthawk with a puppy golden retriever.
You know the
Adorable
wrestler,
golden retriever.
right?
I
I
know
do.
that.
Oh,
So,
Ultimate
yes.
Warrior.
That's the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Well,
Come on now.
Come on, man. Snap
Sorry.
into a Slim
I've
Jim.
definitely disappointed at least one guest, probably both.
Yeah.
So
If you were a good host, you'd be eating a Slim Jim right now.
you're right. You're right. Just didn't have the time today. All right. Well, welcome again, everybody, as we welcome you to the world of parks and recreation through our eyes. And in this case, maybe 2 individual surprise guests today. Because we have a really exciting show, I want to make our opening question fairly brief.
Good
You
luck.
guys do you understand what that means? Do we have to define that? Okay, so brief. Webster says. Okay. Anyhow, we're gonna make this quick. And it's just very simple. Summer is here. Summer vacation season is officially here. And I want to know, what is one vacation or getaway that you got planned? And I know Jay has a few coming up. Shane, maybe it's just throwing your phone away for a week. But what's something you got planned that you're looking forward to? I'll go first, and like I said, I'm going to keep it brief. I am leaving in 10 days to go to my favorite place. So, going to Disney World.
Austin? Oh,
No. We're going to Disney World. People have heard me talk about it enough, so I don't really have to say much more about it. Like I said, I'm going to keep it brief, but I am so excited. There's a whole process of booking. We've got all our reservations for food, and in a couple days, we'll start booking some of the rides that we're going to be looking to plan out and map out. And for me, a good vacation is just as much about the food, the plan, being around a lot of people, and the atmosphere. So I'm excited. It's definitely become an annual tradition for us, and maybe even sometimes more than once a year. But we're pumped. How about you guys? What do you got going on?
I just started laughing when you said being around a lot of people because that truly is the definition of Shane's like
Yes,
It's
the
vacation is
opposite.
like I want to be isolated by myself
right.
or with his wife, but
yeah.
not around a lot of people.
Speaking of mine, I wrapped mine up. I normally don't take any vacation throughout the year except for the summer. I take 2 weeks. Just got off coming back from 2 weeks off. I put my phone on do not disturb. I mean, I checked messages from time to time, but
Yeah, and
I
then
woke up.
you hit us up with any kind of chain that we're on together. You hit us up with about 60 to 75 thumbs ups or responses at the exact same time,
I
which
didn't
we
want to be
appreciated.
unresponsive to my travel buddies.
That showed the number of threads we're on together because
Too
there
much.
was like 25 within 5 minutes of different
Too much.
text threads.
But it was great. I slept in late. I worked out every day in the garage, sat out in the garage, got hot, sweaty, smoked a cigar, would order DoorDash of one of my favorite foods, whatever it was that day. They brought it. I usually ate it out in the garage. Then I would take a shower and watch the World Cup. It was like I talked to no one. I barely got in my car. Oh, even Hannah was gone for a week of that. I just it was like 16 Saturdays in a row. It was glorious. It was great.
That tracks well for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I say we typically take at least two vacations every summer. One we did a couple weeks ago, went to Charleston, which we kind of already talked about a little bit, and then heading to Buffalo next week to do a little family trip, which we do every summer. We time it with my brother and his family that live in Chicago. So they got 3 kids. Both of my kids are super close with their kids, and so they're just excited to see each other. And we'll be up there for 4 nights, so not a super long time, but it's been nonstop, like 100 degrees here in Charlotte, and I am just counting down to be able to get a break from that heat because it's going to be like 75, 80 degrees in Buffalo, and that is probably what I'm looking forward to the most, other than hanging out with the family.
Well, that sounds great. And I can tell you both that our guests today have some experience with vacations. And that's a very vague comment.
Boy,
But
that
I'm gonna leave it.
eliminates
That's
that eliminates
actually-
a lot of population, huh?
That's actually all the clues. Do you guys have a guest?
Aaron,
All right. So our first guest today graduated from UCF with a bachelor's degree in political science in 2004.
the Bulls.
UCF, home of the what?
Bulls?
You don't know this? Do
Is
you
it
know
Bulls?
when did they
Florida-
win? They've won a football
Central
national
Florida
championship.
Knights. Am I getting South Florida and UCF
Now,
confused?
there might be one of our guests that happens to have a name of that today. Nighthawks?
Nighthawks. I thought it was a Step Brothers reference.
Okay. Well, it might be, but either way, also UCF won a football national championship in 2017 and is a 5-time national cheerleading championship school. Fun fact. This guest is a former Illinois high school all-state drama performer, similar to Shane.
Mm-hmm.
This guest has been to 42 states. They have founded what I find to be one of the most amazing and unique experiences from my discussions with them, an annual Rolex 24, which is a race, Rolex 24 at Daytona guys trip. It's wild. 30 guys I think go, 30 or so. There's a bylaws to it, and it's in its 18th year. Very, very cool. They also have worked professionally in baseball clubhouses, in arena football, professional wrestling, and concerts, including work in the NFL Hall of Fame game in 2005 at the Dolphins locker room, and Major League Baseball clubhouses of the Dodgers, Rangers, and Royals, work with the Milwaukee Brewers in Nashville Sounds. In the clubhouse for a Bob Dylan and Willie Nelson concert in 2005. Also in the clubhouse for the Jeff Fisher Softball Classic 2005. I think that's all some experiences in the Nashville area. Also for the clubhouse for the AAA wrestling event in 2011. They have been a light designer for Dynamite Championship Wrestling and spent 3 years with the Arena Football League. Our guest is the founder of a band called Sour Cerveza, and our guest worked for the Walt Disney World Recreation
there we go.
Department for 11 years before finding his way into Parks and Recreation. Their current Parks and Rec career includes work for the city of LaSalle, I hope I'm saying that right, Illinois Park and Rec District, and they serve as the president of the Gurnee, Illinois Park and Recreation Board. Today, our guest serves as the program manager for the city of Lake Forest, Illinois. Our guest reached out to me after attending the session that I co-presented with John Stutzman and Katie Keller in NRPA last year. And in this fall, after just staying in touch, the two of us, our guest and I, will be presenting in Philadelphia together, which is a really cool story. Our second guest, let's move on here. They also graduated from UCF with a bachelor's degree in radio and TV production communications in 2003. This guest loves to travel, especially cruises. Shane, here's a really great coincidence. Die-hard Seahawks fan.
Really? Welcome to the pod.
Also a die-hard Braves fan, which I'm a huge Braves fan, and a UCF Knights fan. So it is the Knights. Sorry, I made a mistake. Hannah, help us out there. UCF Knights. Huge fan. So both have that tie to UCF. From 2000 to 2019, they worked as a spotter for the PA announcer for UCF football games. They've worked multiple bowl games, All-American games, and Arena League games as a spotter. They love to go to sporting events, been to World Series, 2 times a guest of the Masters Golf Tournament, Peach Bowl, twice a guest of the Fiesta Bowl, and has been to Ireland to watch UCF and goes to 1 UCF away game each year. Also, similar to a former guest, Jason Mangum, not as many, but been to 18 Major League Baseball stadiums. They share the same birthday as Tiger Woods and LeBron James, in good company there. This guest is a Disney World cast member. They started their journey in December of 1995 as a custodial sweeper of the streets at Magic Kingdom. At one point, this guest was trained to operate a Disney steam train, also managed Disney's bass fishing operations, and was on the opening day team of Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park as a merchandise cast member. Our guest worked inside the NBA bubble during COVID and has played over 1,400 games in the Disney Cast Softball League. They've worked for Disney for over 31 years across 7 different lines of business, including recreation, operations, custodial, housekeeping, duty management, front office, and logistics. Their wife of 8 years also works at Disney, and today, this guest leads sports logistics at the ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex, planning and executing events from start to finish. Pretty interesting stuff. Our guest also worked at the Caribbean Beach Yacht Club and Beach Club Resorts with our other guest in the recreation department. And together, at one point in time, just a fun fact to round it up, they coached a youth flag football league together to a 1-9 record.
Perfect.
So, guys, I have waited 6 seasons and 114 episodes for an episode like today. We're finally talking some Disney. Don't worry, it's only going to be about 50 minutes from now, so it won't kill either of you. And for those of you who know what a lightning lane is, Shane, I'm not sure if you know what that is. You pay to skip the line. You cannot lightning lane through this episode, Shane.
Gotcha.
All right, you're a part. You're along for the ride, pun intended. So when I reference Disney, and I say it can be applied to our profession and so many others, it's not me saying it's that we should be Disney. It's because of the intentionality, which we talked about last episode. It's because of the culture that they create around service. It's the storytelling and creating experience. So, guys, please welcome our guest today, Aaron Dalzot, former Disney cast member turned park and rec professional, and Steve Cox, who has spent over 3 decades helping create magic at Walt Disney World. Steve and Aaron, welcome.
Hey guys, thanks for having us.
Welcome.
Hey, welcome.
Look at
Thanks
that
for having
background,
us.
Shane. Did you see it?
I see it. Oh, yeah. The shirt and the pennant. I see it.
Oh yeah,
The hat,
Yeah.
too.
And,
Love
and
it.
the hat.
Who knew? Who knew there was another Seahawks fan that would join
Seriously.
this? From
Seriously.
Florida, by the way. Born and raised in Florida, Seahawks fan. So
Love it.
very interesting. All right, guys. I'm real excited. I appreciate you helping me out here. It was real fun to read all of your clues and some of your background. You guys have some wild background experiences that I'm sure the guys are intrigued and piqued their interest. But I would like to start this off and direct a question. So this particular point in time, I'm going to direct a question to Aaron and then a follow up to Steve. And then from here on out, we'll see how Shane and Jay want to take it. Some questions might be for both of you. But Aaron, I'm going to start with you. You reached out to me after that NRPA session last year. We were talking about our professional family, our professional network. And that struck a chord with you. You and I have had many conversations since then about how important that is to you and connecting and creating those relationships and cultivating those. And you're phenomenal at that. In fact, you reaching out to me and us obviously starting a relationship where we talk and get on a Zoom every month and a half or so since then obviously speaks a lot to that. And of course, we found out or discovered our shared love for Disney. So again, I think that says a lot. And our session coming up at the NRPA conference is called From Magic to Meaning, Carrying Disney's Culture of Care to the City of Brotherly Love. Obviously being in Philadelphia. So what about the session that you were at that, you saw me for the first time and then reached out, our conversations in the past year or Disney itself that made you think, hey, I want to do this. I want to tell my story. There's lessons to learn here for Parks and Recreation professionals. And I'd love to tell that story.
Yeah, well, thank you. So when we were at conference, I think the session I went to that you were teaching was about networking. And even Steve can tell you I'm pretty good at networking. I don't know if it's because I'm Italian, but I got a guy for everything. So I network very well. It's always been one of my goals to present at NRPA. So when I went to that and I was reading your bio, I think you mentioned something about Disney, and that's when I reached out. I'm looking really forward to it because it's very cool for me to talk about my experiences and something I love and then presenting at NRPA, which is, our pinnacle event of the year. So looking really forward to it. And I just can't thank you enough for the opportunity. It's been great to get to know you and talk about Disney and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we have these calls and we've been prepping for the sessions. And by the way, Shane, before I even say that, you hear how he read something about Disney in my bio. You could try putting in your bios that you're a hermit and potentially people will leave you alone.
I don't even do a bio. You do a bio for me. When we present, you just post whatever you want to say about it.
Very true. Well, it's knowing that you don't read it. I'm going to change that up a little bit. But yeah, our conversations start off with, hey, what's going on at work? Or maybe it goes the other way around, but it's generally a plan for an hour or so. And then, I don't know, we start talking about Disney and the next thing you know, it's 45 minutes, 50 minutes later, and we're caught up into it. We haven't even talked about what we were intending to. So anyway, I digress. But Steve, now I want to shift over to you, and
Okay.
your experiences with Disney is about as robust as it comes. And so spending over 30 years doing what you do, helping create these memories that millions of guests will remember forever, that they will tell other people about, all the good things that Disney does, or at least that I've experienced at Disney and know that other people can. When people hear Disney magic, what do you think they're actually experiencing?
I think just the unexpected, maybe like anything's possible. Just the overwhelming, like the Disney magic would be definitely guest service. It just above and beyond. Who knows what's going to happen? You never know what you're going to get. You never know what's going to happen when you visit theme parks or resorts. Just the unexpected that Disney can just go out of their way to make your vacation more magical than it already is.
Collectively, for the two of you, I guess, just one quick follow up on that. What has been for you something that you have basically looked at and you've experienced as a cast member, and that you said you were blown away yourself. So I just kind of want both of you to answer that question, and we can start with Steve. That again, you didn't expect going into this job, and now you are fully into it, and you see why it is that Disney World, well, Disney in general, is the trendsetter. They're at the top when it comes to service and experiences.
I guess it would be just the end of possible, like the endless possibilities that you can do, especially as a guest. I mean, again, you didn't mention bass fishing. Now a lot of guests know we have bass fishing. We have all kinds of, I mean, golf, all kinds of different recreational activities that you can do that guests don't know about. You know, 20 plus resorts, 1,000 restaurants. You know that people can go out of their way and always do something different. Like you said, you've been to the parks and resorts tons of times. You probably haven't done anything. I've been there 31 years. I haven't done everything. Aaron, I think's done everything, but I haven't. And it's just, especially from a customer perspective, you kind of hit on all the stuff I've done. It just gives you that opportunity and flexibility to move around, and to, if you want to move around, you can. If not, if you're happy doing what you're doing, you can stay there. But it gives you the opportunity to let you to move around and try different things, and experience, from a guest side of view, and from, what we call non-guest facing, which I'm kind of doing now. It just kind of opens up the doors to endless possibilities for both guests and cast members, I would say.
How about you, Aaron? What's something, again, just to lead us off, that you can take away from your experiences before we get a little more broad into probably the Parks
Right.
and Rec and parallels, but from those Disney experiences you coming up that you didn't expect and it stayed with you?
Well, I know one of the things like I didn't expect when I was working there is like how people appreciate you so much, like how guests appreciate you. I used to drive firework cruises. So I would drive the pontoons out to Epcot and we watched the fireworks for illuminations, or I drove the speedboat. And it was very humbling the first time people asked to get a picture with me, because like you're just doing your job, like I'm driving the boat, I'm making it fun. But then you realize like you're in these people's photo albums, you're on their mantles for Christmas, during the Christmas time. So that's the part that's special, because you are making these memories forever. And then on the flip side, being a guest, I worked there, I left there, now I'm DVC, I go every year multiple times. To me, it's just, it's that getaway, and you can make it anything you want. Like there's so many different things you can do. Like everybody teases me because my favorite ride's living with the land, but it's awesome. So, and seeing it through my kids' eyes and seeing my wife relax, and my friends and family in Florida, it's can't beat it, man. I really can't.
No,
And
I'm
I like
with
to
you.
chime in too. Like, we're a company of 70,000 plus cast members, but everybody seems like a family. I mean, you see people that you worked with 30 years ago, you run into them. My wife, all my friends, I can't think of a friend I don't have that I didn't meet at Disney, including Aaron. I mean, all my close friends have all come at some way, form, or fashion through Disney. So it's just, again, a company of 70,000 people, but everybody kind of is one big family. And it's nice to know that you have people out there that kind of care about you and look out for you as well.
Yeah, just for your experience, Shane and Jay, the living with the land, because you're not going to know some of these references, and maybe some of our guests aren't either, and I'd love it that they do. DVC is Disney Vacation Club, so it's kind of their version of what you would say maybe is a timeshare,
Right.
but it's a little different, but very cool opportunity, and it's, yeah, if you have the chance and you're a big Disney person, definitely do it if you can. The living with the land, though, I do want to explain to you if you're wondering what that is. It is because Aaron is part of this cult group who love it, and then it's a very polarizing thing. The rest of the individuals don't love it so much. It's a boat ride that goes about 2 to 5 miles an hour, maybe, if that. And it goes through a greenhouse, and it talks about literally living off the land and how Disney grows some of the, some of its own product. It's actually really
I might
fascinating,
like that. Yeah.
but it's not the most thrilling and kid friendly, I would say.
I don't like thrilling. Tom and Jay we were in Orlando riding rides, and I backed out very quickly. So maybe that would be more my speed. Me and Aaron would be fine. I had actually, I give Tom a lot of stick about Disney. I appreciate, as someone that considers himself a pretty creative person and has at times been appreciated for my creativity, both in my agency and in the industry. One of the things I have grown into appreciating about Disney is Disney's one of those few places, it seems from the outside, embraces the creativity of people, right? Like in government, and I don't know if Steve would have experienced it, although maybe university settings in some ways is that way. But on Aaron, you now being in government in some ways, like creativity is not, if there was that Maslow of pyramid of what government looks for, creativity is not one of it. Like it wants it outside of, they don't want you asking, why are we answering phones this way? Or why are we, doing programs this way? They hired you to just do the thing they asked you to do in some ways. And that's probably not unique to government. You probably see that at Target, right? That Target doesn't want you to ask them, why are we greeting people a certain way either, or any other type of job. But what I think's amazing about creativity in general, and what I've experienced over my time, is that as you go up in an organization, there might be more capacity for that organization to appreciate creativity, but you had to actually outlast the first couple of phases where they were trying to beat it out of you a little bit. But going to a place like Disney, it just feels like, and I was in grad school with a kid from Western Illinois, Larry Rhodes, and he worked at Disney for a long time and works at Universal Studios, and I lost track of him. But for the first year or two, we were all close, all of us grads. And he was talking about how much he appreciated, just you could throw stuff up against the wall and people had the capacity to listen to it, whether they took it or not. They listen to it. And I just don't think that happens in government every day. But I think people would appreciate hearing more about any situation maybe that came to your mind when I was talking about that you had the idea to impact someone you were serving, or an event, or, the way you did this train ride or whatever, where your moment of creativity, actually you got to see the downstream effects of that on somebody, on the audience in some way.
You want to go first, Aaron? Go ahead.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, I mean, a couple of the things we did back when I was there, we had the ability to make magic moments, depending or whatnot. So one of the examples I can give you, like I said, I drove boats for the firework cruises. We had 6 boats go out every night. If there was an off chance that there was like a last minute cancellation within 24 hours, that wouldn't get back into the booking system. So literally we would just be on the docks and we'd go up to families, be like, hey, what are you doing tonight? And if they'd say like, oh, we got reservations or nothing, be like, we got a boat. You want to hop on the boat? We're going to go to the fireworks, no cost to you, nothing. Just jump on here. You're going to spend 30 minutes with me. We're going to go around the lake, take you into Epcot, and we'll see the fireworks. And when they got back to the dock, those people were so thankful. And like, if they had kids, adults, it didn't matter, that like they got this experience that not many people get to experience. Cause it's, like I said, we only did 6 boats a night. But that's something those families still talk about. I guarantee you to this day. Do you remember when we got lucky to get on that boat ride and got to see that thing? Yeah.
There is a million stories of people who do that. And I don't want to butt into your guys' thing, but like, if there's the Nemo show, the live, the one where they have the puppets and it's a whole musical. There's a quote unquote VIP section. And one time they picked our family, hey, do you guys want to go up in the VIP section? And that's the most minuscule thing. And it meant the most. And that's just an amazing thing. And I just think of how smart it is. I talk about this with our team. You don't have to get everything approved by me. You don't have to get even though government kind of wants you to, we don't go by that. And the genius behind it is that those families that they picked up on that boat, the hope, and I know that's not why they do it because they're great cast members and they understand the value, but there is a part of it that one of those families is going to remember that experience and go, we got to do that every time.
Right.
And they're going to go back and pay for that experience.
Right. Well, like even Steve used to do fishing, and I would do kids fishing, but even Steve, like he would help me out sometimes because if he had a morning trip, he would leave me the shiners because kids fishing were just supposed to use hot dogs, but Steve would leave me a couple shiners so we could catch bass with the kids instead of bluegill. So like even Steve just being like, hey, I left some shiners on the boat, it helped enhance my trip later. So Steve, I don't even know if you remember doing that, but
I wouldn't have remembered until you just remind me. But yes, and Aaron kind of stole my thunder with the magical moments. Like you said, kind of hitting off the choosing, like, I know every resort I've been in, we have like the family of the day type of thing where you just literally choose a family at random.
Yeah.
They come in, we have a sign for them, we take a picture, we give them the picture. We may have some like Rice Krispie treats or something like that to give them. And that little stuff that costs the company like literally $2 goes a long way. Once in a while, we have the opportunity, especially in resorts, to upgrade, different rooms or whatnot, depending on which kind of resort you're at. But yeah, but there's a fine line between trying to get creative from what we can do and then what kind of where Disney draws the line with WDI, with Walt Disney Imagineering. So a lot of stuff has to be approved, I guess, through WDI. But then, like you guys have been talking about, there's some stuff that we can kind of get away with on the spot type of stuff too to make it happen. I know a big thing now is custodial. They'll draw characters with the custodial, like with water brush, water art is called. Just stuff like that to where you can kind of get creative and do kind of your own thing. And they encourage, all the management encourages that, to be honest with you.
Steve, I'm glad you actually mentioned that. And you may not know the story behind that because I've seen videos of that. And I think probably a lot of people have seen little videos of that being done with drawing artists in the parks. Was that started by an individual team member that came up with the idea? Was it put on by leadership and said, hey, we should do this? Do you know, is there a story behind it?
I don't know, Jay, to be honest with you. From what I would guess, I would say it was probably raining out one day and some custodial was out bored, and tried to draw a character. Probably started with the basic Mickey ears, the circle with the two ears is probably how it started. And now it's kind of evolved to being like actual, like they can draw Goofy, they can draw Donald, there's all kinds of, and it's actually a class that you got to take. It's like an actual training thing that they train you on how to do it now.
That's cool.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
And that was not my intended question, but since you brought that up, I wanted to ask. But, with your time of years there at Disney, is there something that has changed over the years that you've seen from the customer service? That's always been like the mainstay of what Disney's known for is customer and service, but there's so many foundational elements of it that does not change, obviously, over the years. But is there another component that you've seen, like we've shifted this towards this component or this towards the experience because we have wanted to increase an attendance of, older folks or a different demographic to get there? Has there been anything that's changed over the years that's been significant and impacted the area of your staff?
So right now, like I think it started last year. It's called Cool Kids Summer, to where they're kind of focusing on more of the younger families, younger, demographic with, the kids from like, 8 to 10 or 8 to 12, stuff like that. Where the younger families, the new parents, they're kind of focusing on kind of doing some resorts type activities and stuff in the theme parks. But like you said, they evolved, whether it be the fast passes, where it started off to be you could only get, one at a time. And now you can kind of plan your whole day around that. Even before, like Tom was saying, like, a week before you come, you can kind of plan your whole day around that. It's just, we kind of look at the trends and see what the guests are wanting and kind of go from there, both at the resorts and the theme parks. They kind of,
Oh, wow.
Is that what Aaron's showing?
Yeah, Cool Kids Summer right there.
There you
Steve.
go. See,
Oh.
Yep, there you go. So that's something that they started, that they're kind of
Cool.
focusing on doing that. And like Aaron said, DVC, they're always doing stuff with DVC. They're having special theme nights in the parks, and they shut down the water parks, once a month for DVC members to go and enjoy that. So they kind of, every year they added something different. It started off, like I said, when I started, it was just basic. There was probably 12 resorts, maybe 15 resorts back in 95. And now it's just evolved, and they just keep on going and just doing whatever the trends are and what the guests, we have every guest, have you probably seen it, Tom? I know Aaron's seen it, the verbatims, the surveys that you get when you go home. It probably takes you 20, 30 minutes to do the survey, but it hits on everything. And those are useful because we look at those every day and to see what guests are saying, what they're wanting, what they like, what they don't like, and how we can improve going forward.
Yeah, they're the best at what they do for a reason. They have to adapt, and they have to drive people. They have to drive new people to the park too. It's not just good enough to get the Toms and the Aarons of the world that are coming back, and I think they do a great job with that. They're to add to more to that question. The answer, I guess, if you're a DVC member, a lot of this may not apply, but if you're going for one of your first trips, they're running a promo pretty much every year, close to around the same time. It's going to come out in December, January, February, and run through a certain amount of time you have to do it. And and it's meant to get people in there for their first time. And basically, it's okay. Maybe this year it was buy 4 nights or 5 nights, get an extra night. Buy an entire package and get a free meal plan for kids. I mean, these are all the ways that they look to drive in new traffic. It's really impressive, and they're definitely adapting. They're definitely trying to get people in the door, even though they don't have to. And I want to say that Walt Disney said something really early on in one of the parades, and I'll probably butcher this, but it was something like one of his advisors like, "Well, we don't need any more people here. It's packed." And his response was just something you wouldn't think. It was more along the lines of, "No, we want all of these people and we want more." And this is just that was the mindset. It's kind of, I mean, we've talked about it. It's kind of like the Savannah Bananas, right? It's just what are we doing to bring in more and more and more people and not just stop at the excellence that already is. So, all right, let's shift gears a little bit. And recreation is recreation, right? And a lot of people think of now, because of the show Parks and Recreation, even though Jay's never seen it, they believe that the show Parks and Recreation is I guess what we do, the municipal side of things. One thing I learned through my journey of talking to individuals who've worked at the Disney World company, and in the intro, you heard all of the different lines of business that Disney employs cast members. And Steve's a great testament to that. He's been in, what was it, 7 or 8 of them. Now, Aaron, this question's for you specific, and then Steve, I want to go into the ESPN Wide World of Sports, but Disney Recreation, being that I just always thought of it is recreation, but there's an actual recreation team. It's a recreation operation. So I don't think a lot of people would know that. And there's, certain jobs that come along with that. Honestly, for someone like me, I didn't realize that, but I would think it's a dream to work with Disney. And I've been doing my work since, 20 years or so. Now, Aaron, you're a unique case. You were there for 11 years or so. Yep. And you went to this side.
I did.
And so my question to you is what is Disney Recreation? Can you explain that?
Yeah.
And what about that is similar and transition parallels to what we think of as Parks and Recreation?
Yeah, so Disney Recreation, I mean, they have obviously lifeguards. Lifeguards are the big ones. And down there, they're Ellison associations. I'm not sure what your agencies are, but lifeguards is the big one. All the pools have them. The water parks have them. But then there's other recreation. They're like we talked about, kids fishing. We do pirates cruises. Do they still do those, Steve?
I don't know if they do the pirate cruise or not, but yeah. I mean,
yeah, because me and Steve were on the opening team of those pirate cruises, which was pretty cool. It was for like little kids, and we'd go on a scavenger hunt in Epcot. Like, it was pretty cool. And then there's kids activities where they do different random activities throughout the day. They do campfires at the resorts with s'mores. They bring out some characters. It's just, they'll do like limbo at the pool. They'll play games at the pool. Like Steve said earlier, they'll give out prizes. And then back in the day, back when I was there, they don't have it anymore, but we ran the marinas, and you could rent boats and go out on the little Sprites and the Montauks and all that stuff. That was fun. I did the firework cruises. I was part of probably a really unique job driving Breathless, because there's not too many of us that actually did that through its career. But it was awesome. We could do a whole show on that. It was an awesome wooden boat. Take that out. But that's what we did with recreation. Steve, am I missing anything that?
No, I think you hit all like the kids' activities, the community halls at the campground. They have
community halls and like the sandcastles. When we used to have sandcastles, it was like a babysitting club where you would drop your kids off, and then we would feed them. We'd show them movies. We'd do arts and crafts with them. The community halls still do arts and crafts. They do simple ceramics, mosaics. That's always fun.
The campground, they have Segway tours and archery, and like Aaron said, like the little kids fishing, where you can just basically, it's literally a cane pole that you go out with a hot dog and catch bluegill or brim on. So the campground has a little bit more, because generally those people, they come to camp and they don't go to the parks as often as your typical guests do. So they try to plan some more stuff for the campers to do while they're at Fort Wilderness.
And a lot of the resorts have tennis rack or tennis courts that you can play tennis.
Pickleball now. Yeah.
Pickleball. There's also workout facilities at the deluxe resorts. So fitness centers.
I think you hit them all. That's a lot.
Yeah.
especially water parks, and they're always adding more things and different things at the water parks to do.
And a key part for recreation cast members that a lot of people don't know about it, but when the hurricanes come in or the tropical storms, it's really tasked with the recreation staff and the cast members to come up with ideas to keep all those people in the hotel happy, different activities, whether it's movies, crafts, games in the lobby. I mean,
Dance parties.
dance parties. Yep. So when we got tasked doing ride out crews, we had to get creative and entertain all these guests that couldn't leave the hotel. So anytime I go back now as a guest, I make sure to tell the recreation lifeguards or the cast members, like, hey, you're doing a good job, because like I know in our field a lot of times we don't get recognition, but that's one of my things, especially when I go back to Disney. I'll thank them and point it out and relive my old glory stories, right, Steve?
Yeah. Yep.
No, it's great, and those opportunities are there. And I don't think a lot of people really know that or understand that. And what a little bit of what Aaron and I've talked about, what I've talked about for years, is really just how do we transition these experiences to what we do every day? And that whole the hurricane story that you told, I look at that as just a typical summer camp. Okay, so what we would consider typical summer camp. Some days it's too hot to go outside. Some days it's a rainstorm, like a washout the entire day. And what are our teams doing? What are we telling our teams to do to occupy the time of the campers, to make the time a little more special, even though they want to be outside? They had plans to maybe go on a field trip and they can't go on that field trip. And just looking at some of those examples is, I mean, it's so easy, it's so practical, and obviously what we can do to enhance. And that's just one small example. So the recreation side of things we talked about. And I appreciate you putting some parallels into how you've taken that back, Aaron and Steve. So I want to shift now to you. You've got the recreation side that we talked about, but right now you're working with the ESPN Wide World of Sports. Okay, and that's a massive complex.
Yep.
Now I think I talked to you both when I got the chance to talk to you a few days ago about how in my organization we have it's like a 225 acre park, and that's a decent sized park. It's not the biggest park in the world, but it's, for a municipal park, it's pretty good size. There's 8 soccer fields, 8 ball fields, and a whole bunch of other amenities. But those, having the 8 soccer fields and 8 ball fields, allows us to run some local and regional tournaments, which is great. And a lot of logistics go into that. And what you're doing is on that scale times sometimes 100. The amount of courts you have, the amount of fields. Heck, we've talked about this. The Atlanta Braves used to run their spring training out of this complex.
Mhm.
It's world class. And so I'd like it if you could take us behind the scenes of what, like I said, for me, it's a small scale, but what it takes to make thousands of guests experience an event at these facilities in the way that they do, based on the work of your team and the cast members that are in the logistical side. And I think you said before that's non-customer facing.
Yeah. So it's really non-guest facing, but for me, like, we get events, we know about events usually typically a few months out, 6 months out, maybe, sometimes even a year if it's a repeat event, they're coming back. Like I said, we have 260 plus acres, 30 actual fields. The baseball stadium the Braves were in, that 10,000 seat stadium, 3 indoor facilities that we can convert to pretty much anything they want to do. We can have pretty much any event at ESPN except for we had no water and we don't really do anything with ice. So no swimming and no ice hockey or ice skating, but pretty much anything else we can or have had there. And like you said, we just had the AAU World Championship basketball tournament. We have 18 basketball courts that we can set up. But this tournament was so big that they were using 2 other venues across town as well. So I mean, there was overall 1,000 something teams that came down from literally all over the world to play. And we have 2 big soccer tournaments every year that we set up. From our 30 fields, we can make 44, 46 fields of those. Like, we put them on some of the modified fields we use for baseball that we can put soccer fields on. But yes, a lot of planning. So we start planning. There's a event manager kind of talking with the client that kind of, they get the client's wishes and what their expectations, what they want. And then we kind of sit down. It's like, all right, well, we have this many soccer goals that we can put out. We have this many basketball goals, and they pretty much know what our capacity is. But then it's just starting to plan as to when to set stuff up. And like, if we have back-to-back events, especially during the springtime, we could have a a cheer and dance event that goes from Thursday to Sunday, and then we have to turn that thing around and get ready for basketball or a marathon expo or what have you. I have to turn that around within a day or two, pretty quick to break up. Like I think we were talking about Marley the other day, dance floors and Marley. So we have sport court that we put down, and then the dance floor on top of that. So it takes my crew. I probably have any given day probably 15, 20 people that are doing this job. That it takes us sometimes all day, a couple of days to set up different events. And then with basketball courts, we have 4 portable courts that we got to put down. So the ones that actually got to lift I think there's 260 planks, different pieces of the court that you got to put down. Each one weighs 150 pounds. So it's like a puzzle that you got to put that down. So that takes us about a group of 10 people about a day to put down each court. So it's just a lot of planning and getting ahead of the game. During the event, my team is pretty much, cruise control mode type of thing. My team does do the water and ice for all the fields, so we keep it up with that and fill up the water or ice when needs in the cups. But for the most part, we're kind of just in standby mode in case a goal breaks or in case something happens that we need to respond to quickly. We can do that. But then, like I said, after the event, normally like either that same day or the next day, we're breaking that event, getting ready for the next one.
It's fascinating that, obviously worldwide sports is probably a cost recovery facility, I'd imagine, and you're trying to make sure you're generating as much revenue as possible on those types of things. In our cities, I always tell people, I tell my staff, I tell my constituents all the time, if it moves or freezes, you have to maintain it, you have to condition it, and it limits your flexibility, right? So if you've got some hard court, you can do broom hockey, you can do futsal, you can do basketball, you can do volleyball, you can do pickleball. If it's an ice rink, it's an ice rink, and you're having to do a lot of maintenance on it, and you're not playing tetherball on it or some other, you're not doing pickleball home run derby or one of these other crazy ideas you want to have. It's an ice rink. Same thing with a pool. If it's a pool, sure, you can do stand-up paddle potentially or some sort of senior yoga class, but you're doing it in that water facility and you're conditioning it the whole time and you're maintaining it the whole time. And so, even in, y'all's world, y'all seem to have eliminated 2 high loss leaders in some ways, which was very smart on the revenue side of that, I'm sure. As people that are professionals in a world, current and previous, in a world where customer service was high, when you're exposed to poor customer service outside the world of Disney, how insane does it drive you? Because I'm a leader, I'm a manager, and so anytime I even just see poor management, whether it's the manager of a local restaurant or somebody, you're this close to providing an excellent level of customer service. It's infuriating to me, and no one's reaching out to Pflugerville for our customer service models like they do Disney. So I imagine to be at some point a customer service professional, which is probably not ever a title of anyone, but it's known that everyone is providing this incredible customer service in every experience and interaction that you're providing with these guests when you interact with them. When you're out at, the Piggly Wiggly or on a cruise or at a stadium and you're just a consumer and you get really shitty customer service, that has to just you almost want to flip a table, I bet, especially after you've done it for so long.
100%. My wife yells at me all because I think, and I think Aaron probably the same thing. I think we both have a high standard. Whether, like you said, whether I go to pick up a pizza and they don't get greeted, right away. People have their backs turned on their phones. It's not hard. We do great stuff. It's nothing that anybody else can't do. We go to some training, and we probably have, overall probably a week of training before, of the background and guest.
It's the culture, though. It's everyone. Correct. Yeah.
And it's just not, if we can do it, if I can train somebody to do it, I don't know why everybody else should be able to do it. And same way, like you mentioned cruises, like I think Tom mentioned, I love to go on cruises. We go on 1 or 2 a year, and that's usually where you find the best guest service, to be honest with you. I mean, and we kind of, even Disney's kind of looking at some of the ways, like from a housekeeping perspective or, that type of way, how you get the service on cruises. Why can't we provide that service, all the time? But yeah, you're right. It does drive me crazy to not have just, not even like a 10 out of 10. I would even take a 7 out of 10 most of the time. Right. And it's just not, it's not there. I mean, and I get it's probably the world we live in. It's probably the pay. It's probably a bunch of different factors that are contributing to that. But is if you're going to be in the customer service field, whether you're like you said, grocery store, food, what have you, you should be able to find a minimal guest service or customer service.
Well, and most of us are civil servants.
Yeah.
Literal title is civil servant. So don't even get me started on that. That there's individuals in our own. I'm not saying Parks and Rec.
Well, and Aaron transitioned into that.
Yes,
so he went
did.
from being a customer service, guest service professional to a Park and Rec professional, and there probably was a drop or a void in the expectation level.
Sure. You've probably seen so much. Aaron, I want you to elaborate on that a little bit. Before that, I'll tell you what drives me nuts after going and being involved and immersed in that is that I want to take it back and provide that similar type of service. Mm-hmm. What really drives me mad, and I don't know if Aaron and Steve, you feel the same way. I know people who have gone to Disney, who go back to Disney and expect that level of service, but go back to their day job and don't do the same thing. I don't understand that. I'll never understand how you could go there and expect them to do everything they can to make your stay and your experience top notch and not want to be doing the same thing for other people. Just drives me nuts.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I know me and Steve have been at a couple of restaurants or whatnot together, and we'll just shake our heads because we'll be like Steve said, it's not hard. It's not hard, but especially when you got treated when you get off a Disney cruise line or when you're at the parks, you just had the most magical service. And then just to be like, you know what, I'm going to go back to my job and ignore people or not pick up trash or not greet people with a smile. I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's funny. Two different restaurants that I've gone to over my time, and the guys will tell you I'm pretty routine oriented if you haven't heard from my vacation where I did the same 5 things every day. But so I only go to a couple different restaurants, but 2 different places, one in Missouri City and one here in Austin, have named a button for me. Where I go in, I just order and I just say, I'd like the Shane special, and they hit the button and it gets the thing. And Hannah was talking to me one day about how crazy that is. And it has a lot to do with repetition. It also has everything to do with when I walk into any restaurant and we go back there, even just a second time or a third time, Hannah's always shocked that they remember me. But I actually look at them like a human being and ask them how they're doing. The person that's serving me, I'm the guest. I'm the person going in and buying a burger. But, I just ask them how they're doing. I look at them and, I ask them about something about the building. I'm new. What's the best thing to eat or what here, and I think there's a void of people being treated like a human being, this is just a transaction and I don't have to look at this person checking my groceries out or bell hopping my stuff into and out of my hotel room. I don't have to treat them like a human being. I can just not recognize them as such. And I think anyone in the service side that actually is seen and, they'll remember you, regardless of the tip, regardless of the interaction. Oh, they actually saw me. They remembered my name was Shane. The next time they came back, they're like, hey, Shane, what's going on? It's like, so even on my side of it, I try to provide customer service to the people that are serving me in some capacity. But I think there's a lot of people that this is just we're just going through life and we're completely distracted by the podcast you're listening to or what the thing that happened or the book you read. And, you see this person and you're just coffee in and out, you go, and that's not a human being to a lot of people for some reason. It's not someone that cares or matters, that they don't have things going on in their life. I just treat them like shit. I came in and came out and used them as a transaction and left. And I don't know. It seems like there's a lot more prevalent nowadays than it ever was in the past.
I know one thing my wife's really good at, and she's getting me better, is to thank people for when we do get good customer service. When we're at the restaurant and they were awesome, interactive with us, and that goes a long way. I mean, like I told you guys, thank you for what you do, because I do feel recreation doesn't get its share of the table compared to other departments. The fire department's always going to be the city darlings, but we're the ones putting on events and picking up the slack. But just to give it back, and my wife is really good at it, because she'll say because we met at Disney, she worked down there, and she'll be like, we both worked at Disney, your customer service was great, and then you'll see them light up or say thank you or whatnot. So I do try to especially where I'm at now and being a commissioner and all that, I really try to put it back into the world, like when good stuff happens. But like on the flip side, what Tom was asking and what Steve, it is hard for me not to react when something goes south. Like when you go to your facility and the guy's got the door locked 10 minutes before it's closing time. Like, right? Like infuriating.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
No, and I used to never do the surveys you get like after, it seems like you get a survey for no matter if you go to McDonald's, if you go to no matter where you go, you're going to get a survey after, especially if you order on the app. It goes both ways. Now, I used to never do those. I used to just get rid of them. But now, like Aaron said, I try to make a point, especially if I got great customer service, to call it out, to tell them. And it goes the same way. If it's just bad, I let them know it was horrible too. Like, hey, this employee, I walked in, I wasn't greeted. I mean, I sat there for 2 minutes before I was even acknowledged I was there. So, but I agree with Aaron. Like a lot of times in customer service, it goes unappreciative, I guess. And we do have these things. I don't know if you've ever done one, Tom. I know Aaron gets them, and he's done one for me, I think, a couple times. But they're called grape soda. We also call it a 5 keys card. To where now even on the Disney app, you can go on and acknowledge or recognize somebody that whether it be custodian, whether it be a front desk person, whoever you can ask. That's going to ask you their name. Everybody has their name tag and where they're from. So that kind of helps it narrow it down to then. And that goes a long way. Actually that goes on your record card. A lot of places do like drawings to where, you get so many, you get a prize, or, everybody got one for the month, goes into a drawing. That and the cast, they love it. I mean, it means a lot to them because they get recognized. It goes right to their direct leader, who usually recognizes them in front of their peers. So that goes a long way. Just like Aaron said, just a little thank you or, great job type of thing goes a long way.
I'm glad you mentioned the survey component because I'm probably the oddball that like I've always done all the surveys regardless. And I do it with the intention of I know in our field, I'm relying on surveys to come in for programs and for events and for our experiences at our facilities. So I want to make sure that I'm kind of doing that same thing in return. Yep. So I wish that more people would do them. I know obviously we don't get as many as we would like. And typically you only get it if it's really, really bad or really, really good. And those in-betweens are just as important just because we don't want it to be average. You don't want to just say, oh yeah, we came in and, program was fine. They said hi to us, but we want to go above and beyond. We want people to still fill it out regardless of what their experience is. And I'm glad you touched on the cruise line earlier as well. I am a big cruise fan and we haven't been on one in a couple of years, but we used to go every year. And that's hands down the best experience of customer service I've ever had. Whether it's the people that you're cleaning your room, your waiter, your assistant waiter, your head waiter, the people serving ice cream, anyone on the cruise ship has hands down always been so impressive. And one thing that you said that I think is really important to note of that, a lot of that has to do with their expectation of pay and tips and where they come from and their nationality is very different depending on around the country because their level of service, and I'll kind of go off on a little bit of a tangent. Like we had servers and waiters from around the world that like that's their sole life of income is being a server on the cruise ship, and they know that experience is going to be able to get their kids to get their next pair of shoes or to be able to get them the clothing they need to be on their back. And we don't look at like that in the States. And so I wish we did. I wish service was a higher priority, but that's always been. Because I've had those conversations with servers and people from around the country or around the world when we're on these cruise ships. And I wish there was a way to emulate that on other areas of park and recreation, but it's not always the same.
No, you're right. A lot of times, like you said, like I don't know the exact percentage, but I would say probably less than 2% are actually Americans on the cruises, right?
100%.
Or employees. I say a lot of third world countries that, they literally take their whole paycheck and send it back because everything on their cruise is paid for them. I mean, they get free, they get room and board, they get food and everything. So they don't need to spend any money while they're on the ship. So they send it back to their wives or kids or parents or sisters and brothers. And a lot of times I know a lot of cruise lines now do like, if they get recognized, they'll get a little bonus, whether it be $5, even $5 goes a long way for a lot of them to the country they're living in. So I've been on almost every cruise line you can be on, probably.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter what cruise line you really go on. It's always top-notch service.
Well, guys, I've obviously loved this conversation listening, and I hope that Jay and Shane Well, it seems that they've been enjoying it too. I can't really tell. Shane, he's a hard nut to crack, and
You
it took
can't
a
see my
long.
smile. The
It's
beard covers
it's
it.
it took us a lot to. It actually didn't take that much effort to get him to wear some Disney ears, but we got him to wear Disney ears. We got Jay to wear some Disney ears out there when we were in Orlando. But I do have one closing question for the general or main segment, and Aaron, I really just want to know we're gonna talk a lot about some of what we've talked about today in our session, and I think we're gonna get into some more specific examples, and that's what I'm excited to do is so that people could see the practicalities of obviously a lot of people really love the Disney world, the Disney culture, and there's a lot of people out there that don't get it or maybe just don't buy in, and I'm not asking them to. What I am asking them to do as a park and rec professional is understand that some of what is done there, some of what the guest experiences is really easy to bring back to what we do to make our jobs, to make us better at our jobs and to enhance the experience of others. So if you could sum it up, because you talked a little bit about this, Aaron, what is one misconception for the naysayers about Disney and your experience there, and then your experience as you've transitioned to Parks and Recreation, that you hope that Parks and Rec traditional professionals leave the session and maybe even this episode thinking a little differently about?
I mean, my big thing for like a crossover that doesn't happen, but we could do in our field, would be the big thing Disney does that I don't see a lot of it, and I've tried to bring the culture in is, and Steve, I don't know what it's called, but it would be when you like your leader or your manager, or your director, however it is, they would be in a regular costume and work a shift with you, like once a quarter or once a month. Like that was, to me, that was always huge. And I always try to get out there and work a shift with my staff, because how I grew up in the Disney culture is like your manager doesn't ask you to do anything they won't do. So seeing them work, even if it's like a 4-hour shift, when they were working down in the marina with us, they were shoulder to shoulder tying up boats. So I try to do that back with my staff. Like I'll be one day in the field in summer camp. I'll go work at my arts center. I'll go into the preschool program and work. Like that's one I would like to see more. I know it's tough with all our schedules, but that means so much to your staff just to see that, like, okay, I saw Aaron picking up trash at the end of the concert. I can pick up trash too, So like that stuff I would say goes a long way. And in my career in Parks and Rec, you don't see that a lot. You see the directors or the managers, talking to commissioners, or here at Lake Forest, we're a municipality, so they're talking to the alderman or the mayor or stuff, but it's more focusing on your staff and showing them like, hey, I do it too. It's okay, we all do it. I think that, me personally, that's what I would like to see more in our industry.
And then Steve, my last question for you, and I think I know the answer for Aaron, and I maybe would guess the answer for you, but I don't want to do that. After 31 years as a cast member at Disney, does it still feel magical to you?
It does. Maybe not so much in the role I'm in now, since it's like I said, non-guest facing. But yeah, when I mean, 6 months ago, I was a front desk leader at All Star Music front office, front desk. So that's where I was talking about you can make the magical moments. You can recognize the family of the day. Every day's different, so every situation is different. Everything's not gonna go perfectly, right? I'm sure you guys have seen. I know Aaron. I'm the first one he texts when something's not ready. If this room's dirty, if it's not ready right at 3:01 or whatever.
Or a power goes out in the middle of the night. Remember that one?
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. So I'm sure you probably seen some hiccups as well too, Tom. But that's where you can have we're kind of talking about creativity. That's where you kind of have the flexibility to turn that vacation around. Turn a loss into do some service recovery. There's like Aaron's like, if the room was dirty when you walked in, all right, well, maybe give them a free meal. There's all kinds of different stuff that you can do, and the frontline cast have every authority to do whatever they think is right. And we're never going to get upset with them. Never going to get in trouble for trying to take care of the guest. So that's where it's kind of magical. We kind of talked about first time visitors before. I couldn't believe how many times. I guess we're just all used to being there so much that people, older people, mid-aged people, like they've never been to Disney before. it just blows me away. I thought, at this point, like everybody in the country has been to Disney at least once, but that's not the case. And then we've probably seen the buttons that we had, the first time visitor buttons, the birthday buttons, all that kind of stuff. People ask for birthday buttons, and we kind of have to tell them happy birthday, because they're not going to ask for a birthday button if they don't want people to recognize them or say happy birthday to them. So that's kind of one thing too. Like we train into our cast, like, hey, if you see a magical moment button, or a first time visitor button, happy birthday button, make sure you recognize that, because they want to be recognized. They're wearing it for a reason. Unless the wife makes the dad wear it, sometimes, whatever, especially for birthdays. There's no getting out of that for them. But for most of the time, they want to be recognized. So it's just doing stuff like that, and like little stuff that goes a long way, just by recognizing them for their birthday, first time visit, or whatever.
Tom, why didn't we get a button for Shane?
I missed an opportunity, because I've got those buttons, and for people to come up to him and ask him about him being a first time visitor.
Yeah. Is there a last time button?
All right, let's do it. Let's do some.
He could have worn the first time and last time the same day.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true. All right, I'm gonna kick it off with this rapid fire. So I try to show everybody if they ask, which some people do.
They don't. It's not always if they ask. You show us if they don't ask.
I was going to say unsolicited as well. I will say, hey guys, I love to grab some food here and grab some food there. Anyway, that's a lot of pressure, because I love some of these meals, and if it doesn't hit, we had one meal and I was like, hey, I don't know if that one hit. That wasn't their best meal that I've had at that place. But anyway, for you guys, go to snack or restaurant in Disney World.
My go-to snack's a Mickey pretzel with cheese right outside of Epcot, over
Classic.
by Imagination. That's my go-to snack.
Yeah, I would say that, or the classic ice cream bar is always good too. The classic Mickey bar.
Now, if you're invited to a cast member party or a DVC after hours party or whatever, I'm assuming, because I've been to a DVC member party, and I know Aaron's told me about a cast member. Those things are like unlimited at those, right? You could just as many pretzels and ice cream bars as you want, and so
it is.
Depends on which one you go to. So yeah, Aaron's got lucky. He's been to a couple, after your 10-year anniversary, every 5 years you get this. It's a really big blowout that Disney does. They shut down the Magic Kingdom, and it's like literally, like you said, as much every quick service restaurant's open. Some of the sit down restaurants are open. All the rides are open, the characters are out, but yeah, you can literally get 14 Mickey pretzels if you want, or churros, or whatever you want. So yeah.
Okay, best. I know these guys got something to get into, but best restaurant or non-snack.
My favorite quick service would be Casey's Corner, because I think they got the best hot dogs on the planet. And then my sit-down restaurant, I would probably lean towards Boma at Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Okay. Shane would never experience Casey's, because he would never step a foot inside of Magic Kingdom. All right, go ahead.
I like Casey's too. My other one, kind of one that kind of underrated, I think, is the barbecue, Sam Eagles barbecue in Epcot.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And the American Adventure. That's a really good quick service. My sit downs are probably going to be like Ohana or Yasmin Steakhouse. I think are probably my two.
Woody's Roundup's really good too. Yeah. Have you been to Woody's Roundup?
I have not. No, I've heard good things about it. But I've heard good things about it.
I might go to the Magic Kingdom for the hot dog. Okay, so they like to try to trip me up on universities, and Tom did it first. I said Bulls, which is obviously Southern Florida.
Podcast right then.
I know Southern Florida.
I thought you were going to leave when I said Nighthawk. I'm so sorry.
I came back and corrected myself with the Knights, but y'all both sound like y'all are big Central Florida fans. So give me a moment or a player that was a great experience, or just your favorite all-time player.
For UCF, Dante Culpepper is probably. I mean, he was going.
Y'all had great quarterbacks. Blake Bortles was great.
Bortles, yep.
Minton or McKenzie, yeah.
Mackenzie Milton, yep. But I think Tom hit on it a little bit ago. I don't know if you can see her in my corner, but Shaquem Griffin for me.
Sure, Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm sure you know Shaquem, right?
Yeah, Griffin
he
brothers.
Went to UCF, born one arm, and I was telling Tom the other day, my mom was born one arm, so it kind of hits a little closer home where it's both to see him overcome, become the first player in NFL with one arm, especially
he
UCF,
and his brother playing it for Seattle, winning the Super Bowl. Yep.
So that was all awesome. And then probably the moment is, I know it's kind of tongue in cheek, but the 2017 national champions, we beat Auburn in the Fiesta Bowl, or that was the Peach Bowl. Sorry, and we were the only undefeated college team that season. And we beat Auburn, who beat Alabama, who ultimately won the national championship. So in our eyes, we have it on our right underneath our press box in the stadium, 2017 national champion. So, and I was at the Peach Bowl for that. So that was probably my biggest game moment.
I'm glad it was tongue in cheek because I was sitting there going, I don't remember UCF winning a national championship.
It's in one of the record books. If you look at one of the NCAA type record books acknowledges us. Yeah,
take it. Yeah.
I mean, I got the banner hanging right there in my office.
Oh, look at that. Aaron, what about you? Favorite per moment or experience or player or all of them, whatever?
My favorite football player would probably be Blake Bortles because I also used to be a Jags season ticket holder. So
he was a unique character too.
Yeah. So I enjoyed him. And then my favorite probably football player would be I'm going to butcher his last name, but it was what was it? Phil Dalhauser,
this volleyball player. Yeah.
Yeah, the volleyball player, because he was in the Olympics. And so it was like seeing UCF being mentioned on the Olympic stage was pretty awesome. So, because me and Steve went to that school when, people would be like, what's UCF stand for? Like, where's UCF? Like,
you can't finish or under construction forever. Or,
yeah. So we were there during the trying years. So now seeing that it's on a, national and world level is pretty awesome.
Well, sticking with the sports question, in the episode that dropped today, we actually asked the host here who has a favorite sports event every year and what they are. So Shane's answer was World Cup. Tom went with the Super Bowl, and I said March Madness. So what is your annual, or maybe every 4 years, if it's the World Cup, what is your favorite sports event that takes place?
Well, it depends. Last year's Super Bowl was. I mean, it depends on who's in the Super Bowl.
No, it can't be based on. It's not based on your team. It is just like, what event do you look forward to the most that you love watching?
For me, I kind of Tom hit on my bio, like the Masters. I'm a big golf. Be able to go there twice is, and a lot of people won't get to go there at all. And I've gotten lucky to be able to go there twice. So that's probably that's the constant one I look forward to. But again, if the Seahawks are in the Super Bowl, as long as it's not the 49ers in the Super Bowl or Eagles in the Super Bowl, I look forward to it. I don't care who's playing, as long as it's not one of those two teams. Whatever's on, like I watch soccer probably once every 4 years, and I've had it on. I've watched probably every World Cup game, whether it be, South Africa against Cabo Verde, whoever it is, I probably watched it. So I'll probably watch it again in another 3 years and 11 months. I'll probably turn it back on. For me, it's probably, if I had to choose one, it's probably the Masters.
I've put in for tickets for 20 straight years and I've never won the lottery. So keep trying.
It's coming up here any day now. We should be out here about for next year. So maybe
this will be the year.
Hopefully.
I'll take Shane with me. You'll love all the people.
Well, the food's cheap there.
Oh, $1.50 for no cheese. Yeah, it's $5 beer. It's ridiculous.
What about you, Aaron?
Mine would be annually probably the Rolex 24. I know Tom brought it up, but every year for 18 years now, I've been going down to Daytona to watch IMSA, the sports cars race for 24 twice around the clock. So big into that, especially like the brotherhood we created with having, about 25 guys go every year from around the country. So that's awesome. And then my other one, which is a close second, which Steve, I'm disappointed you didn't say, because I think me and you spent a bunch together.
WrestleMania.
Yes,
yeah.
Which awesome, guys! Thanks for knowing who Ultimate Warrior was. Tom, you went down a little bit.
Disappointing. Disappointing.
And it's actually funny because we've talked about wrestling before. This isn't the first time.
Yeah. Well, listen, there was a cartoon picture. All right, it was. Give me a break.
It was a pretty good description of it, though.
My eyes are off. Right.
Only one person had face paint like that.
Honestly, I was more in the era of, I didn't watch it when in the 80s, early 90s. I was the Rock, Stone Cold, Undertaker. That's when it was. That was I'm a little younger than you, Shane. So I mean,
yeah, you are not much, a little.
All right, guys. My last rapid fire. We are closing in on time, and I want us each to get one more in as possible. My last one should be pretty simple and fun. You're taking Jay and Shane to Disney, to a park for one day. you don't know these guys that much, so don't get too crazy with. But from what you've seen of what I've told you, which park are you taking to each one of them to, and what's one thing you're making them do before they're allowed to complain?
I would say I would take him, especially Shane, get him a couple beers at Epcot, drink around the world, and that way he'll probably enjoy himself a little bit more. And
Okay. Take the edge off a little bit.
Exactly. You can get whatever.
To be honest, I think the around the world for Shane actually would be probably the one activity I could. It's a night he can take a nice stroll, nice and slow, and enjoy what that's all about. So
you can start in Mexico. There's a lot of debate. Do you start in Mexico? Do you start in Canada? Which way you work around? But it wouldn't matter. We would start in one and hit up all of them until he was feeling really good.
Start in Mexico, hands down.
Start in Mexico. See,
let's go.
It's funny you said Epcot because, like, I was gonna say for Shane, I would take him to Geo 82. Shane, I don't know you, but you look like a bourbon guy, and they got one of the best old fashions I've ever had. Brown buttered bourbon. It was phenomenal. It came in a little Epcot cube. It was amazing.
Let's go.
Brand new place. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about Jay? Where are you taking Jay, Aaron?
Jay, oh man, he's been quiet, so this one's tough. But I might. Does it have to be a theme park or can it be a resort?
Go to resort.
All right, I'm going to take him to Trader Sam's at the Poly.
Oh,
I think it would fit well for him. Yep, absolutely.
I don't know what that means.
But he's a resort guy, though. He's a resort guy.
Well, it's like you just were in Hawaii, right?
Yeah. Well, not just, but
yes,
recently.
6
months ago.
Got the Hawaiian theme. You would like the Polynesian.
It's like an awesome little tiki bar. It's kind of hard to get into, but like once you're there, you can stay there.
I'll take it.
Yeah, you seem like a chill guy. I think that's where I would take you.
Hey, I'm down.
He's a pain in the ass. Let's be honest.
Okay, so you answered or you talked earlier about cruise ships. Steve, what is your favorite cruise cruise destination?
Been to Alaska twice.
Okay.
That's probably top. Canadian cruise. We've done Canadian cruise, which is we're pretty much tapped out of everything in the Caribbean. I think I've been to every island probably 3 or 4 times. And so those all start to seem the same to me. So I like to, in September, we're going to Hawaii. We're going from Vancouver to Hawaii on a cruise.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I'm guessing that's probably gonna be my favorite after it's all said and done. But I do like Alaska's probably my favorite destination on a cruise so far.
And Aaron, I don't know if you're a cruise person, but if you're not, favorite vacation spot outside of Florida?
We have started cruising. We've only done Disney Cruise Line. I'm the poster child for Disney, but me and the wife love Castaway Cay. You can't beat it. Yeah. The private island. You can be by your kids if you want to. If not, you can go to the adult area. It's pretty awesome.
Cool.
Okay, my question. There's been a lot of Disney love from Tom over 6 freaking seasons and this episode in particular. But not everything can be 100. There has to be something. It's a safe space. Disney's not going to hear it. There's got to be something that's overrated about Disney. And I need to live in that. There's got to be something that you're like, it's not that big of a deal, guys. It's not worth standing in line in or putting in the lottery system, or it's not as good as everyone says. Give me something overrated about Disney. Something.
The safe answer is it's hot. Real hot. It's just a fact.
I mean, my answer would be just it's like a double-edged sword, but the constant construction, because they're always trying to upkeep, but that can be such a pain in the butt, especially like how many years was Epcot under construction? Yeah. That sucked. Yeah. Like walking the whole left side to go to the right side, so that would be my negative. I mean, they got to do it right. Like any of our parks, we got to keep it and close it down. But it's such a pain in the ass when it interferes with if you're riding Guardians and you got to get over to, France or whatever, but there's giant walls and you got to do this zigzaggy thing like that. That sucks.
Love it. I need something. What about you, Steve?
I know Tom's going to go. He's going to one of the nicest resorts in a couple of weeks here, but I would say the resort because a lot of people aren't there. The bed's the same. People don't think of this. The beds are exactly the same, whether you stay at All Star, whether you stay at Grand Floridian, whether you stay at anywhere else. So a lot of people aren't. If you're there truly just to hang out at the resort, the resort matters. But if you're going to be there, if you're going to be at the resort or at the parks for 16 hours a day and you're going to sleep for the other 8, I don't think the parks or the resorts really matter too much to you.
Look at that. Insider. Look at that. That's great.
Hot take for some.
That's just, yeah, exactly. That's just me. Like I said, I mean, if it was me, I'd rather spend $150 at All Star than spend whatever you're spending at Yacht and Beach. Just because if I'm not going to be there. But then I guess in the parks, maybe I'm not a big character person. I guess people flip out, and Aaron's one of them. He'll stand in line for characters, especially on the cast parties and everything like that. But to meet the characters, I guess after 30 years, I've seen them all. It's just that's probably for me. It's the characters, probably staying in line so long for the characters.
Love it.
Steve's been trying to get me to stay at All Star for the last 5-6 years. I can't.
No, I don't care where you stay. I'm not there anymore, so I don't care where you stay.
I can't do it. I don't go lower than moderate. I'm a Disney snob. I know it.
I hear you, and I'll say it to close it out that I agree with Steve and I disagree at the same time. If when it was just my wife and I, no kids, All Star, we were at the parks or Disney Springs from 8 a.m. to 10, 11 p.m. And so what did it matter? With little kids, the resort matters a whole lot more. The amenities matter a whole lot more. That there's multiple pools or there's multiple places to eat, and if you're into the food, you're not going to get the dining experience at an All Star that you're going to get there. So I get you. I'm with you on both accounts. It's a double-edged sword there. So either way, guys, I could talk about this as Aaron knows.
Was Nighthawk a Step Brothers quote, or was that a UFC?
It kind of was, but it's because of UCF Knights and Seahawks.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, yeah.
Nighthawk. Okay.
That's my fantasy football team name usually. Just can I incorporate both? But it does go back to Step Brothers.
When they first meet, one of them says, "You have to call me Dragon," and Will Ferrell says, "You have to call me Nighthawk." Great.
Yeah.
Love it.
So I got a rapid fire question for Shane and Steve. Who was the better Seahawk quarterback, David Craig or Rick Meyer?
Oh, David Craig. Yeah.
Dave Craig. 100%.
100%. 100%.
Not even
close. No.
He fumbled a lot, but he was still better. At least he could throw the ball.
We're talking about one of the largest busts in NFL quarterback history.
Oh, we had a couple. Dan McGuire was a big bust. Rick Meyer. We had a couple big quarterback busts.
All right, guys. This has been a really great conversation. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we have. Steve, it's been great to meet you. And Aaron, I'm so happy that you were able to come on and bring Steve along. Thank you guys for your time,
Thanks
insight.
For having us.
And
thank you.
Thank you. It was fun.
Really excited to have you guys. So
appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. It was fun.
Guys.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah.
See you.
Right.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
That was awesome.
Yes, it was a good time. I hope you guys got through it. This was a big deal for me.
It's good. It's good.
I'm not the.
I know.
I'm like a total in between. Like I've been to Disney, I think 3 or 4 times, and like I'm not like Mr. Rah-rah Disney, but I'm also not anti. I'm kind of in the middle.
Are you at Disney as an adult though? Like, have you gone without the kids, or every time you've gone with the kids?
I went once before kids, but we were like 25. Me and Lindsay. So we were young, and
you were kids,
her family has a timeshare there. So like we didn't stay. I've never stayed at a Disney resort. I'll say that. We stayed like off-site and then like went to the parks and didn't go to all the parks. We only went to 2 of them, but then we went back with kids. Like I said, I think it's great when it comes to certain things. I'm more of a ride person, and that's not necessarily. And some of the parks have some good rides. Don't get me wrong, but like that's not. The rides we went to for the conference last year, those were amazing. But I think Universal is more ride driven than some of the other rides that Disney may have. But, overall, great conversation. I learned a lot. I don't, have the history of the knowledge of the cast members and the experiences that they're trying to give. Obviously, you hear about it from just stories and what they stand for. But it's great to hear some of the deeper insight from people that have been there for so long.
Yeah. Because we had Steve and Aaron, it was tough to dive in just to Aaron, which would have hopefully your presentation will cover what it's like going from a Disney professional to a park and rec professional, which I think would be fascinating. And we weren't really able to get into it much because, that Steve doesn't have that experience. You don't want to isolate Steve on this thing. And we were obviously short on time too, but it was great to hear their, perspectives on everything, and that they still have big passion for Disney even years later,
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that resonates with me, and for obvious reasons, attendance, and then what I've been able to really kind of parlay and bring into my everyday life. And I still learn so much from hearing the two of them talk. There's pieces of that I'd never heard about before, and I had this question that I didn't ask, but it's like, what's one thing that Parks and Rec professionals should be doing tomorrow that Disney has been doing, since yesterday or whatever it may be. And they talked about that magical moments concept is we do it. I've never known that was what it was called. Magical moments where you got downtime or you just see a family and you pick them out of a crowd and you give them something special. And I love that so much, that concept. And trust me, from what I've experienced in our own profession, it makes the world of a difference for people. And so just being able to learn a little bit more on the inside of the lingo, and I'm so excited to be a part of that session with Aaron and yeah, these guys had some really great things to share without even driving the conversation to culture or whatever it may be. That's just kind of that's just what oozes out of having the conversations with people who have worked there. And the fact that they were talking about how it's like a family to work there, it's just very unique, and I respect a lot of it. So I'm really glad that we got them on, and I hope that our guests enjoy it as well. And next time will be a hard one to follow because I won't be able to talk Disney so much.
Who's next?
All
So Jay has to be next. So we're
next.
off for a couple of weeks, and then it's
Yeah,
Jay.
it's definitely not next week or the week after that, actually.
We're off for 2 weeks, and then it's Jay.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Double vacation, Jay, and then mine, and then we're back.
Awesome.
All right,
guys.
Well, we were getting too friendly. We were getting too close, too friendly. We needed a couple week break, so this will be good.
Yeah. Travel buds.
We can go back to being work acquaintances after this.
All right, guys. Have a good one. And everybody else, we'll see you next time.
See you, fellas.
See ya.
Here at RecLess, we love to give back to the community that we're so passionate about. We do that by providing scholarships to professionals to attend conferences they may not otherwise be able to attend. That's where you come in, sponsorships. If you are interested in a sponsorship, we'd love to connect with you. So this spot could be yours. Contact us today at recklesspod@gmail.com or check us out at recklesspod.com for more details.
This episode of RecLess wouldn't have been possible without the support of our agencies and our better halves, Melissa Salatino, Lindsay Tryon, and our executive producer, Hannah Mize. We also want to thank our director of hashtags and swag, Rooney Taylor, and our team of junior producers, Luke, James, Elizabeth, Grant, and Harper. Stay up to date on all things RecLess by following all of our social media and like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast to ensure you don't miss an episode. See you next time on RecLess.